Grace and peace to you, friends. This video message is coming at a time when we would have been sending out a midweek moment. Actually, that would have been sent yesterday. We have a midweek moment that we prepared for yesterday, but given what happened in Uvalde, Texas on Tuesday, we felt that we could not send that out this week. It just wasn't the right message for us to share with you. So we're putting that on hold, and you'll get that next week. But I did want to speak to the events of this week and speak to you all as a pastor to a congregation this week. I came in yesterday. Wednesday is my writing day, so I came in expecting to write my sermon for Sunday, but I could not simply go about business as usual. And I expect that whatever you had on your agenda yesterday, you couldn't go about in the same way that you would have before the shooting that took place at Robb Elementary School. A sermon is always something that you write to lift up the problem that we are facing in our world, and then to share a message of hope, to share the gospel and the way the gospel speaks to it. I found myself yesterday really unable to write in that way. See, what I was struggling with was to come up with a message of hope, or with a message that would lead us to a place of feeling better about that. I am still struggling with that, although I assure you that it's not because I've lost my faith or because I don't think that the gospel has something to say in this circumstance. I absolutely believe that it does. I'm giving the Holy Spirit some space to work on me, because I will tell you that when I sat down to write, even as I began to write, I could not find that place. And why I couldn't find it was because all I could think about was how many times have we prayed these prayers? How many times have we held vigils? How many times have we held remembrances and memorials? How many times have we talked about gun violence in this country, and none of it seems to matter? It isn't making a difference. We're not changing the game. What's happening is over and over and over, we are sacrificing our children to this problem. And I could not, in that moment, deliver a message of hope. I couldn't do it. I pray that God's blessings, God's Spirit will be at work in me and allow me to be in that space. And I assure you that by Sunday, we will gather together for worship. We will proclaim God's sovereignty, and we will worship God together. But friends, we are in a hard place. I have some sense that the pain that I was feeling yesterday is a pain that many of you sensed as well, and in different ways, and some of you deeper ways than I did. What I did instead of writing a sermon was, in response to some other inputs and some other inspiration, felt that what we needed was to have a public witness, so that we would not be able to easily overlook what took place, that we would not simply be numb to this and turn our eyes away from it. The problem with so many school shootings, and I've just recently read that we've had 26 school shootings in this country already in 2022, resulting in death. The Gun Violence Archive indicates that we've had over 200 mass shooting events in this country so far this year. The problem with that, of course, is that the more this happens, the more we come to be resigned to it, or simply accept that this is the way it is. But I don't accept that, and I don't think you do either. So what we did yesterday, Graham Rosen was here, our director of production and digital content was here, and Graham and I talked about it, and I told him what I had in mind, and he helped me. We carried from our downstairs storage, carried out to our front lawn 21 chairs, 19 of them children's chairs, 2 of them adult chairs, as a public memorial, public witness to those 21 people who lost their lives in that shooting in Uvalde, Texas. That memorial, that public witness, has garnered quite a bit of attention, and it's been shared with other people, and we're seeing a lot of other people who are doing this now, and I think that all of that is helping us to face the reality, and perhaps even to find some solidarity with others who are grieving and are fed up and ready to make some action. I will tell you that as we carried those chairs, at one point as I was walking up the stairs with 2 or 3 of those chairs stacked, cradled in my arms, I came to the realization that the weight of those chairs was approximately the weight of an elementary school child who the day before had been cradled in the arms of a first responder. And I found that I had to stop where I was in the stairwell because the sobs were overtaking me. Friends, the pain is real, and we must not let ourselves become numb to it. But we also must do more than what we've been doing. Our prayers are absolutely appropriate and important. Our thoughts to be with the families who are experiencing this tragic loss are important. Our worship, our memorials, our tributes, our remembrances are appropriate, but we cannot stop there. You know, like so many people, I think we've asked the question, why does this happen? Where is God? How do these things continue to happen? Why is this not stopping? And I wonder if God is not asking the same question of us. God has given us everything we need to stop this. We know what's contributing. We know what are causing these terrible events, and yet over and over and over again they happen, and afterward we seem to collectively throw up our hands and all the ideas just fall by the wayside and we go on with life. I am tired of hearing politicians say, well, we just don't know what to do to stop this. I'm tired of gun rights people insisting that every gun should be legal, not just some appropriate guns, that there's no reason that a military grade weapon, a military type weapon should be sold. There shouldn't be rows of these in stores and at gun shows. An 18-year-old should not be able to walk into a store and buy an assault rifle without questions asked. The state of Ohio should not sign into law the very next day that anyone can carry a concealed weapon regardless of whether they've been trained to use that weapon or not. We cannot continue to act as though there is nothing we can do about this. We know that there is something we can do about it. We just need to have the will to do it. Friends, I believe that God is looking at us and saying, wow, how long are you going to let this go on? You know what is expected of you. You know that you are a people who love your neighbors. You are a people who are called to be peacemakers. You are called to beat swords into plowshares, not arm yourselves to the teeth. Friends, I believe that the time for us to respond as people of faith is long past. But an adage I learned as a child, better late than never. So my prayer for all of us today is that we turn this frustration and this holy anger into meaningful action. Contact the people you need to contact. Respond in the way that you know you are to respond. Pray for those whose lives have been lost and act in such a way that no one else will ever have to experience this again. We believe that God is calling us to something greater than just going about business as usual. We cannot look away and say, it wasn't us, because tomorrow it could be. I sent my children to school this morning, and believe me, I thought twice about what they would encounter when they went to school. And I fear for the lives of those who are vulnerable, who we have deemed to be expendable because we don't act. So contact your leaders. Let them know that action has to be taken. We need to do something to enact common sense gun laws. We need to do more than pay lip service to mental health services. We need to make sure that there are adequate resources in communities and schools to help people who are vulnerable and hurting. And we need to take more responsibility as a community and less interest in ourselves as individuals and our own freedoms. Friends, let this time of holy anger be a time of holy movement. May we live into the hope that God has for God's people today and in the days to come. God's blessings.